Do you need a different outlook on life? Do you question reality from time to time? Welcome to Cinema Pills. And today, we'll be counting down 10 movies that will change your life. For this list, we'll discuss movies that have the potential to cause a person to evaluate their feelings, choices, or perspectives. Before we start, be sure to subscribe to our channel, turn on the notification bell for updates on our channel, and smash that like button. Done? So let's get to it. Number 10. Act of Valor. One of a million different war movies, Act of Valor earns a spot on our list not for what is in the movie, but for the making of the movie.
2, 1.
All clear!
Target secure.
Released in 2012, the movie follows an elite team of Navy SEALs who go on an ultra-covert mission to recover a kidnapped CIA agent. As far as movie plots go, not particularly unique. There are, however, three things that will cause you to look at this movie differently. 1. This movie was made with active-duty Navy SEALs. That's right, all of the men who played the SEAL team in this movie were not trained actors. As a matter of fact, due to the deployment cycles of the team members, the photography of this movie took 2.5 years to film. 2. In certain key scenes, real ammunition was used as well as actual SEAL fighting tactics. However, this was all cleared by the US government, who kept a watchful eye on the making of this film, as they were concerned that if certain methods were revealed, it could pose a national security risk. 3. Aaron Vaughn, one of the SEALs who appeared in the movie, was killed in actual combat before the release of the movie. On August 6, 2011, he was serving in Afghanistan and traveling in a Chinook helicopter carrying 30 American troops when it was shot down, killing all on board. The movie itself was not received well at all. Objectively, we couldn't even call it a good movie. But it changes your view when you know that you're watching a movie with actual servicemen, one of whom died in action. Number 9. Rudy. Anyone who knows sports movies knows this football film starring Sean Astin, focused around the life of a young man named Rudy.
And ever since I was a kid, everyone said it couldn't be done. My whole life.
We see the spirit of an all-star linebacker trapped in the frame of a little guy who can barely survive on the practice squad. But it was always his dream to play football for the University of Notre Dame. Setback after setback, obstacle after obstacle, Rudy pushed through them both, gaining the admiration of everyone around him. Even after he was accepted into the university, he was too small, but he tried out anyways and sat the bench every year. But then, the last play of the last game of his senior year, coach points at him to go in. The smallest guy on the last play of the game makes a huge play and is carried off by his teammates. It is a true underdog story. A lifetime of following his dreams led him to be in one single play. He traded 4 years of college for 10 seconds of game time. Would we be willing to sacrifice so much for the one moment of our dreams? Number 8. Groundhog Day. This wonderful comedy starring the Saturday Night Live alumni Bill Murray is considered to be one of his best.
I gotta go. Okay?
Phil, that was surprising. I didn't know you were so versatile.
I surprise myself sometimes.
Here, we find ourselves following the life of an egocentric, self-absorbed weatherman who has to travel to a small town to do a live report on Groundhog Day. There's just one problem. Every morning he wakes up with it being Groundhog Day all over again. It's a story of self-discovery. At first, he tries to have a little fun with the situation since he can pretty much do anything he wants without lasting consequences. But soon, after countless times of reliving the same day over and over, he resorts to suicide. But after that fails to break the cycle of Groundhog Day, he starts to realize that he's been given a unique opportunity to get things right in his own life. The moral of the story is that we don't get one day to live over and over again until we get it right. We have to fix ourselves here and now. We have to nurture our relationships. We live for today to make tomorrow better. Number 7. The Shawshank Redemption. An underrated movie when it was first released, this story from legendary author Stephen King became one of the most beloved and inspiring movies of all time.
Why'd you do it?
I didn't, since you asked.
You gonna fit right in.
It details the story of a man who was wrongly convicted for the murder of his wife and sent to prison. Surrounded by hardened criminals, the main character, Andy, holds to hope. Hope that one day, somehow, things would get better. Andy's best friend, Red, makes sure that Andy knows how dangerous hope can be in a prison like Shawshank, where you are always just one step away from being beaten up by the guards or violated by other inmates. But after 19 years spent as an innocent man behind bars, Andy makes his move and escapes the prison. In this movie, Andy possesses something called indomitable spirit, a spirit that shakes off all negative influence and never quits. This belief of things will always get better has almost become cliché in today's society since it's spoken so many times. But you never realize how easy our situations are to overcome until you see how someone else overcame something way worse. Number 6. The Pursuit of Happiness. Starring Will Smith and his son Jaden, The Pursuit of Happiness details the life of a newly single dad who struggles hard to make ends meet.
Don't ever let somebody tell you you can't do something. Not even me. All right?
All right.
With his son in tow, Smith's character, Christopher Gardner, does everything he can to scrape a few dollars together for some food. But there's something about him that we quickly catch on to. Gardner is a brilliant salesman. He knows what he wants, but he sacrifices the easy things of the now for the payout of later. At the onset of this movie, Gardner has applied for a position as a stockbroker, but there is one catch. It's only an internship and it's unpaid. At the end of the internship, the firm will only choose one person to bring on into a paid position. But after many hard trials and heart-wrenching scenes, the job is offered to him. Throughout this whole movie, Gardner never revealed to anyone what his situation was. He was nobody's charity case. He proved that no matter what your position is, you can pull yourself up and be successful. Oh yeah, this movie was based off a true story. Number 5. Gravity. A visually stunning film starring Sandra Bullock and George Clooney, Gravity takes us on a wild ride following astronauts who are in space to fix the Hubble Space Telescope. However, a field of space debris passes the crew and shuttle, spraying everything and destroying anything that it touches.
I'm about to undock from Tiangong.
Bullock's character is even knocked away from the shuttle to float off into space. Space is pretty much the most dangerous place known to man. Survival is tough under normal circumstances, but when the situation turns dire, we can see that the human spirit can overcome almost anything. As movies go, it is actually a pretty short movie, but it's full of action from beginning to end. It highlights once again a person's indomitable spirit and an unwillingness to simply give in to the situation. You live to fight another day. Number 4. Castaway. Starring one of the greatest actors ever, Tom Hanks, we see survival that is inspired by love.
So long as you're here New Year's Eve.
I will be here New Year's Eve, I promise.
The main character of the movie, Chuck Noland, is a higher-up for FedEx and flies internationally for the company. However, on one of his trips, the plane crashes in the Pacific Ocean. Noland, the only survivor, is washed up on a deserted island where he has to learn how to survive. Days turn into weeks. Weeks turn into months. Months then turn into 4 years. But in that time, there is one thing he never forgot about: his fiancée Kelly, played by Helen Hunt. His plan was always to escape that island in order to return home to the woman he loved. Eventually, after a carefully devised escape plan, he is rescued and brought home, only to have his world shattered again. Thinking Noland was dead, his fiancée married another man. Hopeless situations overcome by the power of love. But even then, things still didn't go as planned. That leads to the real moral. We can overcome anything. We have the power to find peace. even in the darkest of times. Number 3. Remember the Titans. Yet another great sports movie, this one starring Denzel Washington.
50,000 men died right here on this field, fighting the same fight.
Set in 1970s Alexandria, Virginia, we find a town that is still in the throes of racism. Known for their football program and having an entire town behind them, Williams High School was an integrated school where black and white kids had trouble coexisting. The new African-American football coach, played by Washington, brought the team together in a truly remarkable way. Where white players would routinely pick fights with black players, they soon saw each other as brothers. But this had a much greater impact than just the football team. The entire town started to change with them. This film really highlights the good that can be found in people. It shows that the true measure of a man isn't skin deep. Even with what's going on today, a lesson can be applied. It is possible to love each other, even in the toughest of circumstances. Number 2. Forrest Gump. Regarded as one of Tom Hanks' best roles ever, we follow the life of a simple-minded man, Forrest Gump.
You boys from in the world?
Alabama, sir.
You twins? No, we are not relations, sir.
As he lives through some of the most notable things in history. From Vietnam to Watergate, Gump seems to have witnessed it all. But there's something strangely unique about Forrest Gump, something that sticks with the viewer throughout the entire movie. Think about it. When a major event unfolds in front of your eyes, how analytical do you get? You ask a ton of questions, trying your hardest to make sense of everything. But it isn't this way for Forrest Gump. His simple-mindedness is his greatest strength. He doesn't try to interpret. He doesn't try to analyze. He simply sees things as they happen and identifies them for what they really are. How much would our lives benefit from taking out the complexities of everything and looking at something as innocently as a child would? Before we get to our last entry, we would like to encourage you to give this video a like and subscribe to our channel. Also, we're constantly making new videos, so hit that notification bell. We want you to be here for all of our content. And now, it's on to number 1. Number 1. Schindler's List. Undoubtedly the most disturbing and gut-wrenching pick on our list, we find ourselves transported back to World War II and the plight of the Jewish people.
Whoever saves one life saves the world entire.
Steven Spielberg lays out perfectly the atrocities that the Jews of Poland had to endure at the hands of the German regime. However, it's not the horrors of the Jewish extermination that's meant to be the focus. One German man, Oskar Schindler,
What's a person worth?
No. What's one worth to you?
Was a wealthy German businessman who operated a factory that was totally run by Jewish workers. As this factory was needed in the German war effort, the Nazis allowed the factory to go on with their operations, even with the Jewish workers. What they didn't know was that the factory was an excuse to keep as many Jewish people out of the concentration camps that he could. This movie is life-changing on a number of different levels. From seeing graphic depictions of the German atrocities to witnessing a lone German man defying a tyrannical government. This is not a movie that you should just sit down and watch because you're bored. It's a contemplative movie that will leave its mark on you. What movies have changed your life? Did we leave anything off our list? Be sure to comment down below, and maybe we need a part 2. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and we will see you next time.